I came home early that Tuesday, arms full of groceries, expecting the usual quiet of an empty house. Instead, I froze in the doorway, hearing Lauren's voice, low, playful, drifting from the kitchen. "Oh, he tipped me extra for that last move," she said, giggling into her phone. "Some guys just can't get enough." My stomach twisted. She was a dance instructor, sure, private lessons for rich clients who wanted to salsa or waltz their way into impressing someone. That's what she'd always told me. But something about her tone, that laugh, it didn't sound like she was talking about a cha-cha. I set the bags down silently, edging closer. She didn't hear me. "Yeah, next week's book's solid," she added, then hung up. I should have asked her right then. Instead, I waited, pretending I'd just walked in. She spun around, startled, then flashed that smile I used to trust. "Hey, Ryan, you're early." I nodded, forcing a grin, asking about her day. She rambled about a new client, some tech guy who loved her style. But her eyes darted away too fast. Therefore, I let it go for that night. I told myself I was overthinking it. We'd been married 5 years, together since college. She wouldn't lie. Later, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying her words, that giggle. I got up, grabbed a beer, and flipped through my vinyl collection, old jazz records I'd hunted down over the years. It usually calmed me. Not this time. The needle scratched across Miles Davis, and all I could think was, what's she really doing with those clients? By morning, I convinced myself it was nothing. She left for a lesson, kissing me goodbye, her perfume lingering. But then I found her planner on the counter, flipped open. 3 names, all men, all with $signs scribbled next to them. My chest tightened. This wasn't just dance. Was it? I needed to know more, but I didn't know where to start. The next few weeks, I watched her closer. Lauren's lessons stretched later each night. She'd breeze in past 10, hair slightly mussed, claiming traffic or a chatty client. I nod, sipping coffee, pretending I bought it. We'd always been solid. High school sweethearts who survived broke college days, eating ramen. She'd tease me about my vinyl obsession, how I'd rather hunt for a scratched Coltrane record than watch TV. But now her teasing stopped. She was distracted, always on her phone, typing quick replies she'd hide when I walked by. I tried asking once, casual like, over dinner. "So how's the dance gig going?" She shrugged, poking at her pasta. Same old. Rich guys who can't step to save their lives. But her laugh was forced, and she changed the subject fast. Some story about a coworker's dog. Therefore, I dropped it. Confrontation wasn't my style. I taught history at the local high school, graded papers, kept my head down. I wasn't built for drama. Then Saturday hit. I was at a flea market downtown, digging through a crate of records when the vendor, a grizzled guy named Pete, struck up a chat. "You're Ryan, right? Lauren's husband." I nodded, surprised he knew me. "Saw her last week," he said, scratching his beard. She was with some suit, flashy car, over by the upscale bars. My grip tightened on a Sinatra LP. She told me she was teaching that night, at a studio across town. "You sure it was her?" I asked. Pete shrugged. "Pretty blonde, killer smile?" "Yeah." I paid for the record, hands shaky, and drove home. She wasn't there. Another lesson. I sat in the dark, spinning that Sinatra track, lyrics about betrayal sinking in. But then I stopped the turntable. I couldn't just sit there. Therefore, I grabbed her phone when she got back, waiting till she showered. Unlocked it. Same old code, her birthday. Text from client Mike popped up. "Last night was worth every penny," one read. Another. "Bring that red dress again." My throat closed. What the hell was she doing? I didn't sleep that night. Lauren's phone burned a hole in my mind, those texts replaying like a bad song stuck on repeat. Worth every penny. Red dress. I wanted to smash something, but I just sat there, staring at the ceiling. She slept beside me, peaceful, like nothing was wrong. By morning, I decided I'd confront her. But when I tried, she was already halfway out the door, bag slung over her shoulder. "Late client," she said, pecking my cheek. I mumbled a goodbye, my courage gone. At school, I was a mess, snapped at a kid for doodling, botched a lecture on the Civil War. My buddy Tom, the gym coach, noticed. "You okay, man?" he asked at lunch. I hesitated, then spilled it. Pete's story, the texts. Tom frowned. That's weird. I saw her downtown once too, near the Marriott. Thought she was meeting you. The Marriott? That was no dance studio. But I thanked him, playing it cool. Therefore, I started digging. That night, she left again. I waited 10 minutes, then checked her desk. Buried under bills, I found a receipt, $200 at a boutique, dated last month. Lingerie. My hand shook. She'd said that cash was a gift from her mom. Then, in her purse, I found a bank stub, $1,500 deposited 2 days ago. No way dance lessons paid that much. But then the front door clicked open. She'd forgotten something. I shoved everything back, heart pounding, and grabbed her record to look busy. Hey, she said, breezing in. Left my charger. She didn't notice my panic, just smiled and left again. I exhaled, but the relief didn't last. Therefore, I made a plan. Next time she went out, I'd follow her. I wasn't some paranoid nut. I needed proof. The next night, she left at 7, all dolled up, claiming a group class. I waited, then tailed her in my beat-up Honda. She didn't head to the studio. Instead, she pulled into a high-rise downtown, valet taking her keys. I parked across the street, watching her disappear into a penthouse lobby with a guy in a suit. My world tilted. I sat in my car, gripping the wheel, watching that penthouse light flicker on. Lauren was up there with some slick-haired guy, his arm around her waist like he owned her. My brain screamed to storm in, but my legs wouldn't move. I wasn't a fighter, never had been. Growing up, my grandpa used to say, "Truth finds a way out, Ryan. Just wait." He'd sit me on his porch, spinning old jazz records, teaching me patience. But this wasn't waiting weather. I drove home numb. She didn't get back till midnight, slipping into bed like nothing happened. "Long night," she muttered. I didn't respond. But the next day I called in sick, first time in years, and started piecing it together. I remembered her planner, those names with dollar signs. I cross-checked her phone again when she was out. Client Mike had sent more. Thursday, 8 p.m., same spot. Thursday was tomorrow. Therefore, I decided to go deeper. I hit the bank, pulled our joint account records. Deposits, $1, $500, $2,000, $800. Random chunks over months, all cash. She'd said it was extra lessons, but no instructor made that without a studio's cut. Then I found an email on her laptop, buried in spam. A hotel booking confirmation, one night, 2 weeks ago. Not in her name, in Mike's. My pulse raced, but then her car pulled up outside. I logged out, barely breathing, and pretended to grade papers. She walked in, chipper, holding takeout. "Thought we'd have a night in," she said. I forced a smile, eating silently while she chatted about nothing. Her phone buzzed, Mike again. She glanced at it, typed fast, then set face down. "Work stuff," she lied. I nodded, but inside I was done playing dumb. Therefore, I set a trap. "Hey, let's do something Friday," I said. "Invite Tom and his wife. Make it a group thing." Her face tightened. "Oh, I've got a client thing," she said too quick. "Emergency lesson." I smirked in my coffee. "Emergency, huh?" I'd be there Thursday, watching. And this time, I wouldn't just sit in the car. Thursday night, I was ready. Lauren left at 7. All smiles, claiming a last-minute group class. I waited 5 minutes, then followed, my old Honda rattling behind her sleek sedan. She drove straight to that high-rise again, same valet, same routine. I parked farther back this time, hood up, blending into the shadows. She stepped out, red dress hugging her curves, heels clicking as she met that same suit, Mike, I guessed. They laughed, disappearing inside. My fists clenched. I couldn't just watch again. I crossed the street, slipping past the doorman with a fake delivery excuse. Years of bluffing tardy students paid off. The elevator hummed up to the penthouse floor. I stepped out, heart hammering, and crept down the hall. Their voices leaked through the door, hers flirty, his smug. I pressed my ear closer, but then a window caught my eye. Through it, I saw her, dancing sure, but not like any lesson. She was all over him, his hands roaming. My stomach lurched. I stumbled back, nearly knocking over a plant. Proof. Undeniable. But then a security guard rounded the corner. "Hey, you lost?" he barked. I mumbled something about a wrong floor, bolting for the stairs. My mind raced as I drove home. She wasn't just dancing. She was selling something else, something I couldn't even name out loud. Therefore, I stopped pretending. This wasn't a marriage anymore. She got back late, slipping into bed like always. I lay still, plotting. The next morning, I called Tom. "You free tonight?" I asked. "Bring Dave, too. I've got something to show you." He laughed, thinking it was a guy's night. I didn't correct him. Then I texted Lauren from a burner phone, posing as a new client. Her to the best. Private show, my place, 8 p.m., $500. She replied fast. "See you there." I smirked. She had no idea the address was ours. I set up cameras, living room, kitchen, everywhere. Tonight, she'd walk into her own reckoning. And I make sure it hurt. Friday morning, I barely ate. Lauren hummed around the kitchen, oblivious, sipping coffee like it was any other day. I'd set the trap. Cameras hidden in the bookshelf, behind the TV, even in the hallway. My burner phone buzzed with her reply. "On my way at 8. Can't wait." She thought she was meeting some rich stranger. Instead, she'd face me, Tom, and Dave, all watching her unravel. I'd spent the night wiring everything to my laptop, testing angles. This wasn't just about proof anymore. It was about making her feel what I'd felt. At school, I faked normalcy, grading papers while my mind churned. Tom clapped my shoulder at lunch. "What's this big surprise tonight?" he asked, grinning. I shrugged. "You'll see. Bring beer." He didn't push, but I caught his sideways glance. Therefore, I kept busy avoiding questions. Back home, Lauren left early, saying she'd be out late with a client. I nodded, playing the clueless husband one last time. Her perfume lingered as I double-checked the setup. Everything was ready. By 7, Tom and Dave showed up, hauling a six-pack and chips. "What's the occasion, man?" Dave asked, sprawling on the couch. I forced a laugh. "Just wait." They ribbed me about my vinyl collection, Miles Davis spinning softly in the background, but I barely heard them. My eyes kept flicking to the clock. At 7:55, headlights swept the driveway. My pulse spiked. Therefore, I dimmed the lights, muttering about atmosphere, and hit record on the cameras. The doorbell rang. Tom raised an eyebrow. "You order pizza?" I shook my head, stepping to the door. Lauren stood there, red dress glowing under the porch light, a sultry smile plastered on her face. "Hey, handsome," she purred, thinking I was her mark. Then her eyes widened as I stepped aside, revealing Tom and Dave staring from the couch. Her smile froze. "Ryan," she stammered. I crossed my arms, voice cold. "Surprise, babe. Show's about to start." Lauren's face drained of color, her heels clicking as she stumbled back. What's this?" she sputtered, clutching her purse like a shield. Tom and Dave sat frozen, beers halfway to their mouths, confusion morphing into shock. I didn't flinch. "You tell me," I said, nodding toward the living room. "You're the pro. Show us what $500 gets." Her eyes darted between us, searching for an out, but the cameras were rolling, red lights blinking from their hiding spots. She didn't know that yet. "I don't. Ryan, this is crazy," she said, voice cracking. "I'm just here to..." "To what?" I cut in. "Dance? Like you danced for Mike last night." Her jaw tightened. She hadn't expected me to know names. But then she straightened, forcing that charm back. "You're blowing this out of proportion. Let's talk alone." She reached for my arm. I pulled away. Therefore, the room went silent, tension thick as tar. Tom cleared his throat. Man, should we go?" I shook my head. "Stay. She's the guest of honor." Lauren glared, realizing she was cornered. "Fine," she snapped, tossing her hair. "You want a show? Watch." She kicked off her heels, stepped into the room, and started swaying, slow, deliberate, like she could still control this. Dave coughed, uncomfortable, but didn't look away. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, letting her dig deeper. Halfway through, she faltered, glancing at me. "Happy now?" she hissed. I smirked. "Not yet." But then Dave muttered something under his breath. "Wait, Mike." And my ears perked up. "You know him?" I asked, turning. Dave nodded, uneasy. "Yeah, Mike Hensley. Big shot at City Hall. Saw her with him once. Thought it was a work thing." My stomach dropped. City Hall? This wasn't just some random client. Therefore, I grabbed my phone, pulling Lauren aside as the guy's watch stunned. "Who's Mike, really?" I demanded. She yanked free, eyes blazing. "You don't get it, Ryan. You don't want to." She stormed toward the door, but but I blocked her. Oh, I'm about to. Lauren shoved past me, grabbing her heels, but I caught her wrist. You're not leaving till I get answers, I said, voice low. Her eyes flashed. Anger, fear, something else. Let go, she hissed, wrenching free. Tom stood, hands up. Hey, let's all chill. No, I snapped. She's been lying for months. Mike Hensley? City Hall? What's that about? She froze, then laughed, sharp and bitter. You're so naive, Ryan. Keep digging, you'll regret it. She bolted out, tires squealing as she peeled away. The room went quiet. Dave rubbed his neck. Man, that was intense. Tom stared at me. You okay? I didn't answer, just shut off the cameras. The footage was gold. Her dance, her slip about Mike, but it wasn't enough. Hensley wasn't some rich nobody. He was connected. Therefore, I poured a beer, mind racing. You said City Hall? I asked Dave. He nodded. Yeah, he's some deputy something. Flashy guy, always at fundraisers. I sank onto the couch, replaying her words. You'll regret it. A threat? A warning? But then I remembered the bank deposits, the hotel email. I grabbed my laptop, pulling up public records. Nothing on Hensley beyond vague titles. Then I found a photo. Him at a gala, Lauren on his arm, smiling like a trophy. My chest burned. She wasn't just cheating. She was in deep. Therefore, I made a call. My cousin, Nate, worked IT for the county. Can you dig up dirt on a guy named Mike Hensley? I asked, discreetly. He hesitated. That's big league, Ryan. You sure? Yeah, I said. I'm sure. Tom and Dave left, awkward goodbyes hanging in the air. Alone, I spun a Coltrane record, its wail matching my mood. The cameras sat there, taunting me. I could leak the video now, humiliate her, but Hensley's name changed things. What if he hit back? But then my phone buzzed. Nate. Found something, he said, voice tight. Hensley's got a sealed file, and Lauren's name's in it. My grip tightened. What file? Can't open it yet, he said. But it's bad, man. Real bad. I didn't sleep. Nate's call echoed. Sealed file, Lauren's name, real bad. By morning, I was a wreck, chugging coffee, staring at the footage on my laptop. Her dance, her defiance, all caught in grainy clarity. I could post it, ruin her, but Hensley's shadow loomed. Who was he to her? A client? A boss? More? I needed that file. Therefore, I texted Nate, keep digging. I'll owe you. He replied, already do. This is risky. I didn't care. At school, I was useless. Kids whispering about my red eyes, Tom avoiding me in the hall. I left early, claiming a migraine, and drove downtown. The high-rise loomed, its glass reflecting my haggard face. I parked, watching suits bustle in and out. No Lauren today. But then I spotted him, Mike Hensley, stepping from a black SUV, phone to his ear, laughing. My fists clenched. Therefore, I followed on foot, keeping distance. He ducked into a steakhouse, meeting two guys in ties. I lingered outside, peering through the window. They looked serious, papers passed, heads low. One guy I recognized, a councilman from the news. This wasn't just an affair. It was a network. But then Hensley glanced up, straight at me. My breath caught. I turned, walking fast, heart pounding. Did he know me? No way, he couldn't. Therefore, I circled back home, paranoia gnawing. Lauren hadn't called, hadn't texted. Good. I didn't want her excuses. That night, Nate rang. Got into the file, he said, hushed. It's a blackmail case, sealed 2 years ago. Hensley paid off a woman, assault claim. Lauren's listed as a witness. I frowned. Witness to what? Dunno, Nate said. But there's more. She's got payments from him, monthly, going back years. My head spun. Payments? This wasn't new. She'd been tied to him before we married. But then Nate dropped the bomb. One more thing. There's a photo. Her and Hensley, real close, dated last week. She's not just a witness, Ryan. She's in it deep. I hung up, staring at the wall. The game had changed. I sat there, Nate's words sinking in. Lauren wasn't just cheating. She'd been playing me since day one. Payments from Hensley, years old. That photo last week. My hand shook as I pulled up the footage again. Her smug dance, her taunt. You'll regret it. She thought I'd back off. She was wrong. Therefore, I made a choice. Humiliation wasn't enough. I'd burn her world down. I called Tom and Dave. Back to my place tomorrow. I said. One more show. They hesitated but agreed. Saturday, I prepped. Cameras reset, lights low, burner phone ready. I texted her again, same fake name, loved last time. $600, same spot, 8 p.m. She bit fast. See you there. I smirked. She'd walk in blind again, but this time, I'd push harder. I dug through her closet while she was out, found a locked box under sweaters. Pried it open with a screwdriver. Cash, receipts, a burner phone of her own. Text to Hensley, he's asking questions. His reply, handle it. My blood boiled. Tom and Dave arrived at 7, uneasy. You sure about this? Tom asked, cracking a beer. I nodded. You'll see why. At 8:01, she knocked, red dress again, all confidence. She stepped in, froze at the sight of us. Ryan, what? I cut her off. Dance, I said, voice ice. Show my friends what Hensley gets. Her eyes widened. You don't know what you're doing, she whispered. I leaned in. Try me. She danced stiff, panicked, while the cameras rolled. Tom shifted, uncomfortable. Dave stared, jaw tight. Halfway through, I stopped her. Tell them about Mike, I said loud. She glared. You're pathetic. But then Dave spoke. Hensley? The deputy guy? He's dirty, man. Heard he's got cops in his pocket. Lauren's face twitched. I grinned. Keep going, I told her. She bolted for the door, but I blocked it, holding up her burner phone. Explain this. She lunged for it, screaming, You'll ruin everything. I shoved it in my pocket. Good. She ran out, sobbing. The guy stared at me, stunned. This wasn't over. The air in the room hung heavy after Lauren fled. Tom set his beer down, eyes wide. Man, that was brutal, he said, voice low. Dave nodded, still clutching the couch arm. She's scared, Ryan. You see that. I did. Her sobs, her lunge for that phone. It wasn't just shame. She was terrified. Therefore, I pulled the footage onto my laptop, replaying her stumble, her panic. The cameras caught it all. Her dance, her slip about Hensley, her desperation. It was perfect. I barely slept, editing clips into a tight, damning reel. By morning, I'd burned it to a USB, insurance, leverage, whatever I needed. But then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Back off, a man's voice growled. You don't know who you're messing with. Click. My gut twisted. Hensley? Had she told him? Therefore, I called Nate. You hear anything? I asked. He sighed. Words out. Hensley's asking about a teacher snooping. Lay low, Ryan. Too late for that. I met Tom and Dave at a diner, showing them the edited video. This goes online tonight, I said. Tom frowned. You sure? This could blow back. Dave leaned in. He's right. Hensley's not some chump, he's got pull. I shrugged. She lied. He's dirty. They don't get to win. But then I noticed a guy at the counter, suit, earpiece, staring too long. My skin prickled. Therefore, I paid fast, hustling us out. Back home, I uploaded the video to a burner account, title vague, private lessons exposed. Hit publish. Views ticked up, 10, 50, 200. Comments exploded. Is that her? What a train wreck. I smirked, imagining Lauren's face. But then my doorbell rang. I peeked out, 2 cops, badges gleaming. Ryan Carter, one said. Need you to come with us. My heart sank. Hensley's reach was faster than I'd thought. I grabbed the USB, shoving it in my pocket, and followed them out. This wasn't just revenge anymore. It was a fight. The cops didn't cuff me, just drove me downtown, silent the whole way. I sat in the back, USB digging into my thigh, mind racing. Hensley had pull, sure, but this quick? At the station, they parked me in a gray room, one bulb flickering. A detective slid in, bald, tired, badge reading Morales. You've been busy, he said, tossing a tablet down. My video played, muted, Lauren's panicked dance looping. Know her? I nodded. My wife. He leaned back. Got a complaint. Harassment. Invasion of privacy. Ring a bell. I smirked. She's the one selling herself to creeps like Mike Hensley. Check her bank records. Morales raised an eyebrow. Hensley, huh? Bold name to drop. But he didn't push. Therefore, I relaxed too soon. He slid a photo across. Lauren and Hensley, cozy at some event. She says you're unstable. Jealous. This your proof. I clench my jaw. That's her lie. I've got more. They let me go after an hour. No charges, just a warning. Stay out of trouble, Morales said, but his eyes lingered, curious. Driving home, I replayed it. Hensley was covering tracks, using her as bait. But then my phone lit up, Nate. Video's viral, man. Thousands of views. But Hensley's pissed. Heard he's lawyering up. I grinned. Good. Let him squirm. Therefore, I checked the comments. She's a gold digger. Who's the suit? Then one stopped me cold. Hensley's untouchable. Ask about the missing intern. Missing intern? I Googled it. Old news, 3 years back. A City Hall worker vanished. Case cold. Hensley's name floated in rumors, never stuck. My stomach churned. Was Lauren tied to that? But then headlights flashed behind me. Too close. I sped up. They followed. A black SUV, tinted windows. Hensley's goons? I swerved into a gas station, heart pounding, and they peeled off. I sat there, gripping the wheel. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was bigger, darker. And I was in deep. I barely made it home, checking mirrors for that SUV. Inside, I locked every door, pulled the curtains, and sank onto the couch. The video hit 10,000 views, Lauren's humiliation spreading like wildfire. But that comment gnawed at me. Missing intern. I dug online. Articles vague, just whispers of Hensley's temper. A young woman gone. No proof. Therefore, I called Nate. Look into an intern, City Hall. 3 years ago, I said. He groaned. Ryan, you're going to get me fired. Please, I pressed. He relented. Next morning, Lauren showed up. I opened the door, ready to slam it, but she looked wrecked. Eyes red, hair a mess. Take it down, she begged. You don't understand what you've done. I crossed my arms. Then explain. Hensley, the intern. All of it. She flinched. I can't. Hill, she stopped trembling. Hill what? I snapped. But then she shoved past me, lunging for my laptop. I grabbed her arm, pulling her back. Talk. She crumpled, sobbing. I didn't mean for this. He made me. Said he'd ruin us if I didn't help. Help with what? I shook her. The intern. Her eyes widened, then darted away. I don't know what happened to her, she whispered. I just drove her somewhere. Once. My blood ran cold. Therefore, I let her go, stepping back. You're disgusting, I said. She bolted, leaving me with that confession echoing. Nate called an hour later. Found it, he said, voice shaky. Intern's name was Claire. Disappeared after a Hensley meeting. Lauren's car was on a traffic cam, near Claire's last spot, same night. I froze. She wasn't just a witness. She was complicit. But then my doorbell rang again. Morales stood there, grim. We need to talk about your wife. And a girl named Claire. I swallowed hard. The video had cracked something open, something I hadn't meant to touch. Morales stepped inside, tablet in hand, his face unreadable. Claire Thompson, he said, tapping the screen. A photo popped up, young brunette, smiling. Missing since 22. Know her? I shook my head, throat dry. No, but Lauren might. He nodded, like he'd expected that. Your video's stirring things up. Got a tip, anonymous, linking her to Claire's last night. Care, to elaborate. I hesitated, then spilled it. Her confession, the car, Hensley's threats. Morales scribbled notes, eyes sharp. You're in over your head, Carter. I paced after he left, piecing it together. Lauren drove Claire somewhere. Hensley covered it up. Payments kept her quiet. But why? An affair gone wrong? Something worse? Therefore, I checked the video stats, 50,000 views. Comments raged. Hensley's a crook. Where's Claire? The pressure was mounting. But then my phone buzzed. Lauren, meet me. Alone. Parking lot by the pier now. Her voice cracked, desperate. Against my gut, I went. She was there, leaning on her car, shadows bruising her eyes. I didn't hurt her, she said before I could speak. I swear. He told me to drive her to a motel, said she was drunk. I left her there. I stared, and then she vanished. She nodded, tears spilling. He said if I talked, he'd pin it on me. I was trapped, Ryan. But then headlights flared. An SUV screeched up. 2 guys jumped out, grabbing her. I lunged, but a fist cracked my jaw, dropping me. They sped off, her screams fading. I stumbled home, blood on my lip, calling Morales. They took her. I gasped. He cursed. Hensley's cleaning house. Stay put. But I couldn't. Therefore, I grabbed the USB, uploaded a new clip. Lauren's dance, her Hensley slip, audio loud, and tagged every local news outlet. Views soared. By morning, protests hit City Hall, signs screaming justice for Claire. Hensley's face was everywhere, cracking under the spotlight. I'd won, right? But Lauren was gone, and my hands wouldn't stop shaking. The news exploded. Hensley resigned by noon, citing personal reasons, but the mob wasn't buying it. Protesters swarmed, cops swarmed harder, and my video hit 1 million views. Morales called. Found Lauren, he said, terse. She's alive, shaken up. Talking now. Relief hit, then dread. Talking about what? I drove to the station, jaw still throbbing, and saw her through a window, cuffed, head down, spilling everything. Hensley's blackmail, Claire's night, years of lies. I didn't go in. Morales met me outside. She's naming names. Hensley's done. Claire's case is reopening. You cracked it, Carter. He paused. But she says you're no saint either. My stomach dropped. Therefore, I drove home, mind spinning. Then it hit. 6 years ago, a desperate parent, a fat envelope to bump their kid's grade. I'd buried it, thought it was gone. Hensley must have known, saved it for leverage. That night, a blog posted it, leaked emails, my name bold. Local teacher in revenge, scandal took bribes. Comments tore me apart. Hypocrite. Loser. I stared at the screen, vinyl spinning silent on the turntable. I'd ruined her, him, but the cost? My job was toast, my rep trashed. Friends texted, Tom, Dave, asking if it was true. I didn't reply. Therefore, I packed a bag, left the USB, and walked out. Days later, Hensley's arrest hit. Claire's body found, shallow grave, his prints on a shovel. Lauren cut a deal, lesser charges. I watched from a motel, TV flickering, a stranger in my own life. The revenge felt hollow. Her screams, his fall, my shame tangled together. I'd wanted justice, gotten chaos. But then a package arrived, no sender. Inside, a record. Coltrane's Blue Train, scratched but playable. A note. Truth finds a way. M. Morales? I spun it, the wail filling the room, and wondered if I'd ever feel clean again. Thank you for tuning into this story. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world you're watching from right now. Let us know in the comments.